Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You know, this is, excuse me, a damn fine coffee.
And, yeah. Shit, I gotta shave. Alright. Good morning, everybody. And welcome to Morning Coffees with James. I'm James, and this, if you damn excuse me enough, is my morning coffee show. And I fucked that up. Did not sleep properly last night. Not because of any like stress or anything like that, but just you know, I feel like it's boredom, or I feel like it's, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I think I know what it is, but I'm not gonna say it out loud in here. But here's what I want to say though. Good Friday, everybody. It is April 24th, 2020. So 4 days ago we were having 420. But then again, if you are, never mind, I was going to say 420 every day. Smoke weed responsibly. That's my new slogan now. Smoke weed responsibly. Because in the other song he says, smoke weed every day. And I got to say, smoke weed responsibly. Because you have to. You have to drink responsibly, you have to smoke responsibly, and that goes with tobacco too. That goes with tobacco too. I know that we must try to do this. Smoking in America. You know, I gotta say something. If Trump wanted to really, like, win this 2020 election, all he has to do, and I mean this too, all he has to do is just legalize, like, in 2000 and like before his like the election starts, make a law where he said like just basically go with executive action and just be like legalization of marijuana, like decriminalization of marijuana. You don't know how many people would vote for him right away. Like all the country would just be like, or like most of the country, or most of the Democrats would have been like, fuck you Bernie, fuck you Biden, you fucking creepy fucks, you know. Which, by the way, I as somebody who hates politics, but somebody who hates it, I am enjoying this madness and comedy show fully. I mean, it's strange. People will support anybody if it's for their side, and I have to laugh though because it's like, yo, Joe Biden is a creepy bastard. He's sniffing people, can't remember where he is. He has dementia, and yet people wanted him in office. And then you have Bernie Sanders, which, you know, I think I said this before, but I was hoping Bernie was going to run. Like, it seemed like a good guy to begin with. Like, I wasn't a Bernie bro fully, but I was looking at the candidates, and I was like, I don't want either Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump to be in office, like, to be running. I would figure out, like, who would be like the Republican Party member. Like, I was voting for Jeb Bush, but like Jeb Bush fell through, and I was like, you know what, fuck it, you know. And then so it's like, you know, then Bernie got like knocked off by Hillary Clinton, because that's what happened. A lot of people, like, despite what you think of Bernie Sanders, he was robbed of the election twice, once by Hillary and once by Joe. You know, once by crooked Hillary and once by a guy who can't remember where he is. You know, and granted, I'm making fun of somebody who has dementia, and what was the president's name? Reagan had dementia, but I don't make fun of Reagan. But then again, Reagan was kind of all there to begin with, like, and also he wasn't. And a lot of people shit on Reagan, but if you really listen to his politics, he was. And I know a lot of libertarians out there are going to be like, he wasn't a true libertarian, but he kind of understood the ethics of why people didn't want more government. Like, he was somebody who was another, like, no more big government. Like if you've ever watched his interviews and stuff like that, he says that we have so much spending, like, there's too much government everywhere. Like, there's too many like, people are spending too much tax money on, you know, and when he was making a joke, too, that old people are a lot less happier than young people. And a lot wealthy, and, like, young people are wealthier. And this was back in the day, and he was like Johnny Carson. He was on Johnny Carson, so he was just like, do you really need to study for that? Like, think about all the studies. I've listened to KYW. They did a study about coffee, that drinking coffee after you work out is 10 times better. And I'm like, I disagree with that. And you spend all this money on, scientific research that could have went for putting us on the moon, cancer research, research for improving our lives, but you do it for research for like how fast do Canadian geese fly while farting, and by the wind resistance of a chipmunk, eating a nut. And it's like, what is this bullshit of the color of the conductor's shoes math problems? It's like, I don't know, it just makes me laugh a little bit. I think math has just I think the way we're teaching math now, it's just so like, I don't know, I was never good with math. I'm good with like grounded math, but the whole idea of you're cheating with a calculator, no, you're cheating yourself without the calculator, because it's like you have so many numbers. First of all, you don't have a piece of paper, and plus most people like would do the simplest things on the calculator rather than 2 plus 2 is 4, 4 plus, and plus when you do it on a calculator, and I know people out there, well, you should do it on a piece of paper and know how to do it. Yeah, I know how to do it on a piece of paper. The problem is I don't have a piece of paper on me all the time doing math problems in the Sam's Club, trying to figure out how much food I should get and what the prices are, and if I'm getting too much or getting too low. Budget, all right? It's about the budget. And decimals are hard. Well, actually, no, decimals are not hard until you get to the multiplications. That's when they start getting hard. And then don't get me started with division. It's like, every time I do, I feel like I'm destroying the universe somewhere in a far corner of space. Who's dividing by 0? Stop! Stop! It doesn't work. It does work. Not on your planet. It just works off on another planet. Like some planet's all nice and hunky-dory and somebody divides by 0 and it's like, oh God! You figured out the greatest weapon in the universe. You figured out the code. Okay, fine. Can we get the code for what's the formula for making a good video game movie? Look at the Sonic movie. I mean it. I do want to see that movie too, the Sonic the Hedgehog, because one, I love Jim Carrey, and two, I want to see a video game movie do good. Like, I'm tired of comic book movies, and just, not to say I'm tired of them. I'm just tired of just like the way we treat comic book movies versus the way we treat video game movies. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you spent all this time researching and studying the comic book universe of this franchise you're doing, and you made some changes here and there, which I think they're kind of going back on, because now they're just like, oh, we're just going to do whatever we want. Yeah, Marvel's going to stick to this code? No, we're going to do whatever we want. And then you get the DCU, which is like impressively good, but not like correct in certain ways. Like, okay, the things you should have taken over was that the character traits of every hero. Like, we're not asking for you to repeat the animated versions of the Justice League and shit like that. No, we're talking about taking those characters who are cemented in, pop culture as being this, and this. Like, Batman never kills, and Superman's always kind of is a beacon of hope, and should be a beacon of hope, and always should be colorized. He doesn't need to be in dramatic darkness, which honestly, like, if you think about it, it's the really thing about Batman v Superman in contextual sense, it's Superman entering Batman's world. That's why Superman's not a dark character. That's the reason why he was so off, was the fact that he was just in the dark. He was in Batman's world. Like, oh, this is how you see the world every day. Like, it's dark. Like, that's what I kind of like about it. The thing I will say, though, is that if they were going to continue with Ben Affleck, they should have taken him out of the dark and into the, like, not really the dark and grimy, but, like, the dark and heroic. Like, yes, it's, he's a dark superhero. He has to deal with a lot of, like, nasty things, but get him away from, like, that, like, or he's brooding, and more of, like, things are going to be good. Like, give him a Robin. Like, that could have been, like, your saving grace as a Robin. Just give him a young Ward to be, like, lighten up a little bit. Like, yo, there's a kid here. It's like, you don't have, like, to be that upset anymore. I hate, and this is the thing too, I hate about Zack Snyder's version of this universe. He killed off Dick Grayson. Why the fuck did you kill off Dick Grayson? Of all characters, why not Jason Todd? That would have been more like, okay, we're doing our own thing, but we're taking elements from the stories. Like, and that's another thing too they could have fixed with the Joker. Would have been like, it could have been amazing that it would have been more fucked up if the Joker took Jason Todd's dead body, or not his dead body, but like nursed him back to health, and then fucked up and then made Jason Todd look like him. So when Batman finally lost it and killed the Joker, the real Joker would have came out and been like, "Guess who you killed?" Like all that, like just. That would have been brilliant, and that would have been something like the Joker would have done. Like, he would have basically made a Phantom out of Batman's sidekick, and then had made Batman kill his own sidekick. How fucked up would that be? And that would have also explained the tattoos. Like, it would have been funny if the Joker would have been like, "I'm surprised he even didn't notice the tattoos. I mean, do you really think I would have put the words damage on my head?" Like, that would have been a really great way to fix that entire thing. Just admit, all right, fine, he's Jason Todd. And that's all I'm asking. Like, take elements from those comics, but rework them for your story. Like, they did a lot with that in, like, The Dark Knight Returns, which works here and there, but doesn't really work outside of those, like most of that doesn't really work outside of the context. Some of the stuff there, like, okay, you have a seasoned Batman, but I kind of saw him as like not the Frank Miller Batman, but an older version of the Bruce Timm and Paul Dini animated series Batman. Like, this has been a veteran Batman, and he's kind of going back to being a brooding, dark and grimy kind of superhero. That would have been a great opportunity to introduce, Tim Drake. Like, that would have been an interesting thing to bring back another Robin, and have like this Robin kind of like bring Batman out of like the dark, and like out of like the brutal psychopathic, Batman that we were so used to seeing nowadays, the dark and brooding Batman, to more of the dark and noble Batman. Like, this is a guy who's not going to be like, do you bleed, you will, or just like somebody who doesn't just break somebody's legs, but fucks around with that. And that's what I miss. That's what I miss of Batman. And, like, if you've ever watched the animated series, he doesn't always, like... Yeah, some of his best stuff is, like, physically, like, threaten some people. But he's a manipulator. He knows how to manipulate people. One of my favorites is one where I think it's Face of Clay. It's one of the Clayface episodes. And he has a guy cornered in a hospital somewhere, and the guy runs into a room full of deadly diseases. And Batman enters, and the guy's underneath a shelf, like, cowering. And, like, Batman picks up a jar and just says some, like, random, like, disease name, and he's talking about they haven't found a cure for this yet. Like, he's giving him all the details of, like, what this disease does, and he puts it on top of the shelf, and the guy's just frozen. He's not running anywhere, nothing. And Batman interrogates him, and then every time he's not getting an answer he wants to hear, he punches the wall and makes the jar jump, like, and keeps doing this until, like, the jar is, like, all the way on the edge, and Batman gets his answers and stuff like that. And then he leaves and then closes the door. Now the jar's moving, and all of a sudden the guy's panicking and grabs the jar, and it's a jar of alcohol. Like, that, to me, is what made his character great. Like, the fact that he didn't need to be a bone breaker, or he didn't need anger. Like, in Batman Bold and the Brave, I know it's based off, like, the Silver Age Batman and stuff like that, but in the Silver Age DC Comics, there's a line he says, he's helping these young superheroes. I think it's Metamorph, Black Lightning, and Katana, I think. A young girl named Katana, I think. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm thinking of a different superhero. I gotta look it up again, but they're basically captured by this guy who's a dream manipulator. And so Batman now has to fight him. Like, he saves all three of them, but Batman needs to fight the dream manipulator, and the guy's like, I feed off of anger. That's how I get my power. You know what I mean? Like, that's why, because in the episode, each one of them is dealing with a different, like, side of their anger. Like, one's angry at society for making shitty movies. I shit you not. That was a thing. The other two are just mostly like something deep or internal, but it was kind of brilliant too, because like, all right, I'm lost track here. What was I talking about? All right, so Batman figures this out and he goes, I don't need anger to fight you, and like starts to smile, which honestly like a lot of people get upset about, but I think it's kind of intimidating because Batman like is always a brooding character and he's using anger all the time, but when he smiles he's using, you know, it becomes it's not he's not angry. And so it's like, oh, what's going on in his head? And that he can still kick this guy's ass. He's still kicking this guy's ass. Like, Batman kicks the dream guy's ass and basically, like, fights him without any anger. Like, and it's kind of a cool, like, idea. Like, Batman kind of, like, that's what makes him so great, is the fact that he doesn't need the anger. He doesn't need to break your bones. He just needs to fight you here. That's where he fights you the most. Oh, you've got a weakness? I'll exploit it. And by the way, I don't need that thing I need that makes me cool. Like, it's what makes the Batman great. He's not called the Batman because there is only one Batman, and it is the Batman, the Dark Knight, Bruce Wayne Batman. That is it. And I'm sorry he's been around for 75, 80 years now, but he's been an icon. And the Zack Snyder one is not bad. I don't think Ben Affleck was a bad Batman. I just think he was poorly written. Like, it should have been more, okay, this is the Batman from the animated series Batman that we knew. Like, and I don't mean to say copy and paste, but, like, don't make him the Frank Miller one or the Bruce Timm one. Make him more of a mix between, like, not even a mix, but, like, the definition of what Batman is in its whole. You know what I mean? Like, this is, like, I can imagine him being more dark and grimacing because of the loss of, you know, Robin, but take him out of there, because this is not the, you know, the Nolan-verse Batman anymore. This is the comic book accurate Batman now. So just deal with it. I don't understand, like, comic book movies now. Like, the Avengers, the reason why Marvel did it so well is because they did stick to the comic sources but changed a few things to make it more movie accurate rather than comic book accurate. You know, or more real, or more of a believability for a movie. Let me put it that way. You know, it kind of bugs me a little bit, but you know what? It's also the fact that they killed off Jimmy Olsen in that movie too, which pissed me off. Like, Jimmy Olsen, like, you gotta embrace your sources. You gotta embrace the silliness of comic books. If you don't, then you kind of fall back into that loop of, like, yeah, well, it's for kids thing. It's like, you know, this is the thing. I mean, yeah, it is for kids, but honestly, as somebody who likes Star Wars, somebody who, I'm also looking at Overlord DVD's video of new Star Wars series, female-centric. Says Vanity Fair and Kathleen Kennedy, which honestly I am not a big fan of her anymore. Like, if you want to figure out who really killed Star Wars, Kathleen Kennedy, because she did not understand. She basically treated Star Wars as like a cash grab rather than, you know, something special. I know I'm going off topic here. What was I talking about? What was I talking about? Let me see. I was talking about Batman. I was talking about... Fuck, I don't know what I was talking about. I just went on this rant and all of a sudden I forgot where I was coming from. But, I don't know. It's strange. Very strange with movies nowadays. I am happy about Joker, though. Joker was a phenomenal movie. Like, phenomenal. And I know I'm saying it over much, and I feel like some people are feeling like, oh, it's just, you know, Taxi Driver, you know, my first Taxi Driver. Well, if that's the case, then good. Like, if it's someone's first introduction to 70s cinema of the time, like Scorsese films and stuff like that, good. Like, I want more of that. I want more of that. Okay. I want more of that, like, filmmaking. Like, we should honor the past so much. Or, like, keep making films, but be inspired by other styles of filmmaking. Like, I feel like this... And again, I feel like it's mostly, like, what our culture is, like, getting now. We're getting so much entertainment that we don't need any more entertainment. We have so much entertainment. We do need other people to do things, but, you know... The problem with the entertainment today is that we've been kind of blessed with it too. I mean, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just kind of I'm all over the map right now. This is my second cup of coffee. I can't figure out what I'm saying. And every last inch of me is covered with hair. And you've been noticing that. I don't care. It's funny. I will try to be more appropriate. I look like Patricia from Glass. Well, hello, Mr. Glass. Aren't you special? That movie, that's another one that was really good. And a really good, this has been a weird age for superhero movies. And, well, not superhero movies. I'm not going to call it superhero movies. Well, you know what? For comic book themed movies. And movies about villains. It's been that year. This has been the age of the villain. And this has been what's been crazy. It's that heroes have become the new bad guy, and bad guys have become the new good guys. And it's like, villains have become now like the heroes of the story. Like it kind of weirdly worked out in a weird way. Because you got Joker, you got Glass, you've got. I'm trying to think of another movie where a villain is like the main lead. Well, you've also got another film. Well, it's not a film, but it's a video game, Far Cry 5. And if you know the Far Cry series, most of the Far Cry villains in the game are well done. Like, you can hate the games or love the games. I really do enjoy the Far Cry games. I think they're better than Call of Duty when it comes to, like, shooter games that take place in a faraway land. Like, every Call of Duty's like, we gotta stop the terrorists from winning, the dramas of war. It's like Far Cry just throws you into like, a civil war in Africa somewhere, and like you and your morals are questioned at that very moment. Do you want to die? Do you want to live? Do you choose the side that's more wicked than that side, or that side because that side's more or less of evil? It's like, it gets to that point. And mostly, and again, going back to the villains of the game, are not portrayed as like straight villains. Maybe for Paz a little bit, but the thing I loved about the third game was you became Paz. Like, when Paz says to you, do you know, have I ever told you, was it Vaz? Vaz, that's it, Vaz, excuse me. I was calling him Paz. I was thinking of Metal Gear Solid 5, which, that's another game about villainry. Vaz in that game, his famous quote is, have I ever told you the definition of insanity? And for those who don't know, the definition of insanity by Einstein was doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And what do you do in that game over and over again, expecting different results? Killing, murdering, hunting, being a savage in that game. You basically are slowly, your humanity's being slowly ripped away, and you're becoming another Paz. Like, the only thing that's missing is like the shraggy look and like the crazed, like, have I ever told you the definition of insanity? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Now, when I heard about this, I thought the guy was bullshitting me who told me this. So, I shot him. But then again, I started to see things. I started to see him everywhere. Here, there, in crowds. And I kept killing him, and he kept coming back. Have I ever told you the definition of insanity? Like, you have to look. I did a fucking piss poor job of that. And you know what? I kind of want to play the video now, but I suggest looking up Far Cry 3, the definition of insanity. It is one of the best performances, and it's from the guy who's now playing the Scorpion in the new Spider-Man movies, and he was also on Breaking Bad. No, not Better Call Saul, is like one of the Mexican like main drug cartel guys. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, but yeah, then you got Far Cry 4, which is, again, another game where a villain is like not seen as the villain, but like, because then again, in the beginning of Far Cry 4, the main villain like intercepts you, but he doesn't come off as threatening or killing you, or I'm going to do something horrible to you, or he comes off as being like ultra friendly, even though he kills one of his like main like one of his soldiers and one of the most brutal, like one of the most like gangster moves ever. Look that up. But one of the more recent ones, and especially from Far Cry 5, which does a lot it talks mostly about religion and and again, I'm analyzing it and I'm digging deep into it too, but like it kind of like views the whole Christian, like our whole hatred towards Christianity in this country. I know a lot of people don't hate Christians, but it's just like it's our fear against Christianity, and especially from people from the progressive left, like not really the progressive left, but normal people on that side. Like, and it's shown in a way that like does make this group called like the Project at Eden's Gate. They're called Peggies, but the Project at Eden's Gate look very cultish and scary is because they're kind of basing a lot of their like religion off of Christianity. And the whole game has a Christianic like tone to it, like the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse being represented by the 4 seed family members. You have, you know, the whole idea of the sin, like you have different people who are sinners in that game. You have people who, again, you have a very religious tone to this game. And Joseph C. does not come off as like a crazed cult leader. And the fact that like, you know, one of the things I've kind of noticed was like they didn't base him off of Jim Jones, because Jim Jones was a guy who wore dark sunglasses. They based him off the guy from Waco, you know, where the FBI attacked that religious group. The main leader of that cult, well, I'm going to call them a cult because I don't know the whole research of that, wore yellow sunglasses, and Joseph C. wears yellow sunglasses. And it's interesting because if you've seen people wear yellow sunglasses, they don't really work well outside, but they work phenomenally in like say like low lighting areas because it illuminates a lot. And I'm dead serious. I like looked in the game and I looked through his glasses and I'm like, holy shit, like, and it kind of like gives his character a little bit new meaning to, like a little bit more depth. Like he sees something that nobody else. He sees the light in the darkness a little bit because that's what those sunglasses are for. And also the fact that he is very charismatic, but also intimidating at certain times. Like this is a guy who could easily like, and he has done this before, take your eyes and then gorge them out. But he has the capability of like he can hurt you, but he won't. And even his family members are also outrageous. Like they're also very intimidating too. You're in the backwoods of Montana, so it's just one of those games that I really recommend people play. And it's just, and then the one people complained was it's just too random. I actually enjoy that. I like games when they just throw shit at you. Like, I mean, not just random shit, but this game does, like, there's always action happening. Like, you could be walking in the woods, and then you'd be hearing gunfire, and apparently somebody ambushed a truck the Peggies were using for their shelter. And the whole game is about doomsday, so figured as much. So anyway, there could be, you see this ambush, you would join the resistance, and you know, you'd be fighting, and all of a sudden a bear will come in and start, you know, you can either throw a piece of meat, or a bear will randomly come out and start attacking. No, for no reason. There's no, like, prompt for it to happen. It just happens. And then more people show up to the battle, bringing radios, and helicopters come, and it's just like, and it gets intense, and you only have, like, a pistol, an assault rifle, a shotgun, and a bow and arrow, and you make the best of that. And it's super badass. And the fact that there's so many guns, this game is so American. They put so much guns in the game, so many like homages to Evel Knievel in it. You know that they have like, you have like Daredevil missions. You know you're basically, your allies consist of a guy with a rocket launcher, wearing the American flag pants, a cougar, a literal animal cougar, 4 legs, mauling people to death, a bear. A guy, a MILF. Should I use MILF? I mean, she's not really MILF, but an actual cougar flying a helicopter, which, you know what I mean? Not the cougar. Which would be funny if it was somebody, just imagining just an actual cougar flying a plane and an actual like cougar on the ground fighting, attacking people. It's like, oh no, cougar! Ah! I'm too young! I need an adult! And don't get me started with the bear one. Uh, no, the game is really fun. And I do like the fact that this, like, the villain of this game, again, is somebody who is perceived as being, like, pure evil, but his intentions are good. And I won't spoil the ending of the game because, Lord have mercy, does it come out of left field, and it is fucking awesome. Like, excuse my language, but let me put it this way. There's, like, you think if you think you're probably gonna get to a point in this game, you're probably gonna be like hearing different things on the radio, or you're gonna pick up different things, and like there's themes of like the reason why they're building this shelter. So I'm gonna leave it at that. So if you know what I'm talking about and you know of Far Cry New Dawn, yeah. But yeah, I mean, this again is the age of the villain, like Glass, which honestly, Joker, that beautiful movie, and Metal Gear Solid 5, which came out in 2015, so kicked off the villainry, because you are playing as, like, a phantom of Big Boss, and you have a piece of metal sticking out of your head that makes you look like a demon, and your right arm, or your bionic arm, is red. So, yeah, and his one quote is, "I'm already a demon." So, yeah, I'm talking, I don't know. So, yeah. It's just been one of those days. It's been one of those days, Alice. I think I've talked along far too much, and I need to make these into more complex, videos. Like, I want to get some editing in. I can't just take my film right here and put it onto the computer because only the audio shows up, which really bugs the crap out of me. What do you think? Should I just put it up on YouTube with more professionalism and not worry about the video, or should I try to figure out what the fuck's wrong? Excuse my language. I've been swearing a little bit too much, and I don't know why. I really don't know why. And yes, I am also looking at what's next, the Rubin Report, which you should check out. Oof. I'm gonna drink another cup of coffee, stretch, run, and then start writing on the next episode of Dreams About My Brother, because that one is going to be a fully edited one. I'm working on the script right now. Again, the theme of this is Silent Hill. Now, there's no like references to Silent Hill. I didn't get to see Pyramid Head or these sexy nurses, or yes, and that's an actual enemy. Look up Silent Hill enemies, sexy nurses. They actually put that in the game, but there's a reason behind it, and that's supposed to represent James Sutherland's id a little bit, his sexual urges manifested in those things. Which, you know what, it's a lot of people would be like, ooh, oh yeah, that's dirty. It's like, but if you play the game, it's kind of scary because they're kind of like twitchy a little bit, and it's like, oh, I'm getting mixed signals here. I am not cool with this. And then you get Pyramid Head, who is just a manifestation of rage and just terror. Like, the dude just shows up and looks through you behind bars, like, just chilling there. Like, when Nemesis shows up, he just comes out of nowhere, jumps like Spider-Man, kills one of your team members, throws him aside, and then comes after you. No, I'm not going to use number 9. I'll use number 9. Number 9 is another one, too, who just kind of, or number 9, that manner from Parasite Eve 2, just shows up, and it's just like this weird, creepy, monkey, man, giggling and laughing. But anyhow, yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm kind of done here right now, so I'm going to turn this off because I have nothing else to talk about because I ran out of steam. If you wanted something to talk about something going on in the world today or some philosophical thing, well, tough, this was not that episode. Or if you wanted me to discuss about real life events, so I don't know. I'm gonna start doing some topics too, so I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Take care, love you, and bye. Remember to stay safe. Turn the page, wash your hands, and don't forget to do this too. But just to be happy. That's all you have to be. If you want to really defeat a cold or something like that, don't stress about it. Not to sound like an ominous prick and look like, you know, some weird cultist, but never mind. I was gonna do like just dress myself up like a little bit of like a cult leader and just say goodbye. But honestly, considering I'm on Instagram and I have so many followers on there, well, I have 1,000 followers on there, and I don't want to get them freaked out, and I'm starting YouTube again, so it's like, nah. And also, it was not funny to begin with, so I just was trying to say something funny. So yeah, this is the ending. I'm ending it like this. Or, you know, nah, I'm not gonna do it. Fuck it. I'm not gonna play us out with a song. Or maybe I will. Maybe I will. You don't know. Never mind. Take care. Love you. Bye bye. Peace.